Actually, I'm going to make fun of you because you're wearing glasses for the first time on our podcast.
You know that's all being cut right now, right?
You look handsome.
Oh, thank you.
Are you admitting you're getting older?
I don't know. I don't want to.
You need to accept it.
You know what? Yes, I think I should accept it. You know that I'm getting to an age in which I require glasses.
Yes.
Very soon, hearing aids.
Oh my goodness. You needed hearing aids 5 years ago.
Oh.
Now, do you remember when your mom did that to me? The welcome to the 40s?
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah. And I had to get glasses. I told her I was on the way to the appointment, and she was like, "Oh, welcome to the 40s." And I'm like, "Great."
Well, I've been waiting like 2 years to get these
because
I had to.
Because you couldn't accept it.
Can't accept it yet.
I get it.
I'm getting there though.
Slowly.
Hello, Soul Questers. How are you today? My name is Omar. This is my co-host partner Jessie, and we want to welcome you to another episode of A Soul's Quest.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
We were just talking about reality of age and the
eventual. Oh,
you like that? The eventuality of death.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's not death just because you have to wear glasses. It's just a reality.
Well, yeah, I guess it's the reality of just like.
And you know
vision.
what? In our defense, there are young people who have to wear glasses too. They start young too, so it's just
it's all genetic
it's
stuff.
all exactly.
Yeah.
So just getting older. My whole family wears glasses. My brother, my mom, my dad.
Okay.
My grandmother.
Yeah.
So I knew it was coming.
Yeah. Well, it's like I ate so many carrots as a kid. So it's like
didn't work.
It just didn't work.
It might have postponed the inevitable.
Might have,
but it didn't work.
Yeah, so they lied to me. You lied to me.
That was just our parents' way of getting us to eat our vegetables.
Veggies. Yeah, okay. Well, it worked for a little bit, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, so what are we doing today?
You tell me. You're the one that got me here today.
Yes, I want to talk about purpose.
Purpose.
Recently I did a survey to some of our soul questers or potential soul questers, and
how'd it go?
It was pretty interesting. It's
good feedback.
Good feedback, and we're going to talk about some other topics that they brought up as well. But one of the things that an undertone topic in that stuff is the idea of purpose. What is my purpose in life? What is that purpose? I mean, one of the most existential questions that people ask is, why am I here?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What do you ever think about that purpose? Like, what's your purpose?
Frequently.
Oh, yeah?
Very.
And
yeah. I've always felt like that.
What comes to mind when you talk about purpose?
I think really I think for right now in this stage of my life, I'm in a place where I'm not feeling 100% confident. Might not be the best word, but confident where I'm at because, I'm in school.
Okay.
And I'm nearing the end of school. And
now wait a minute, because that's minimizing the the stage. We got to make sure that the stage is set properly. You are finishing your doctorate.
I'm finishing my doctorate.
Okay.
I'm in my last 2 classes of my doctoral program, and I'm about to get into they're called comprehensive exams.
Yes.
And that determines whether you become a doctoral candidate or not. And that is stressful.
Correct.
It's been a thought that is weighing on me. And I'm like, literally, it's in August. So it's coming.
Yeah, yeah.
It's inevitable. And so there's a point or a part of me that kind of feels like, am I prepared for this? And then what am I doing? Like, I remember telling you 3 years ago when I started school that I felt like I was an imposter. I wanted to grab all my stuff and get out of there because I was like, I don't belong here. These people are smart. So then that's when you start questioning your purpose. What am I doing? Why am I here? What am I going to do with a doctorate? Am I doing this because I just want to be educated? Yeah. Because people don't go to college and they're still very educated. I know a lot of people who are super educated about a lot of things and haven't gone to college. But for me, it was about being academic. And I think that's what I learned this from one of these authors that I've read, that one of the things that gives me some sort of purpose is like when I read or when somebody says, what do you do for a living? Yeah. That's like the societal question.
Correct.
What do you do for a living, right?
Correct.
I used to say, well, no, I'm an assistant and I go to school. Okay. Then they ask me, I'm in school. I tell them but then it's like, there's so many other pieces to me. I'm a mother.
But that's what I'm heading at, right? Okay. That's kind of like the idea about this episode, because what you mentioned right now is like, there's a professional aspect of you, right? You're making you set an objective because you want to learn things, you want to be in academia, you want to do all that stuff. So, but that is just one aspect of your life, right? So, but you're being stressed out, you're being super stressed out. Like, what are the feelings that are coming right before? Like, how is it that you're really feeling? Because that's what I want to get into before I start kind of like breaking down this whole idea of purpose.
How I'm feeling is that I don't know if I have what it takes to become a doctor.
Okay.
People didn't always encourage me to go on and go this far in my education. I got that encouragement from my immediate family, you know, some friends at work and things like that. My kids, they inspire me to continue my educational pursuit. And I also am very passionate about my subject. Yeah. That's important to me because I think it's relative to every aspect of an individual's life.
Correct.
And so I know there's a reason, but I don't see the end goal sometimes.
Gotcha.
That's the hard part.
Yeah.
And I think that how I feel about it and what it does to me is that it affects me emotionally and physically. It's almost to the point where I'm feeling it physically to the point where I'm feeling it in my body. I just feel like
what are you feeling in your body? Like,
well, you know, I have stomach issues.
Okay.
I have stomach issues and it's affecting my stomach. Like I eat something, my stomach's hurting.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, when I went to see the doctors and stuff, they're like, you can't be so stressed out. And I'm like, tell me how do I not be stressed out? What do I do for that? So
then again, this is kind of like what I'm getting at. So you're feeling all these things, both mentally and physically, you know, like it's affecting you both in those both aspects because your purpose or what you wanted to do was to go to school, to be in academia, to be able to pass this knowledge down. So you identify that as your purpose.
Yes.
But it's affecting you like that. But my bigger question is this, is like, we're so narrowed, right? We only see our lives in just one capacity, particularly in our society, is like what we do for a living, how much education we have, you know? So like our purpose is really tied up to our status. Right?
Absolutely.
Like, and our place in society.
Exactly.
But
is it really?
But exactly, that's what I'm saying. But is it really? Because again, let's go back to that existential question. Like, what is life's purpose?
Right.
Like, what do you think life's purpose is? Is it just to find a place in society and play that particular function? Is it about, you know, like for instance, you know, the basis of evolution is generation of passing down the genes and the generation of this and the continuation of the species and all that kind of stuff and procreation. So primarily is like, if the purpose of life is just one, on the material level, find a place, a function in society, and on the quote unquote nature level is just to pass your genes down. So that's a pretty shitty place to kind of like be.
It is. It sounds very shitty. I was just thinking that when you're talking about it, I'm like, Jesus. I think that though, for me, when I'm trying to be realistic about what, you know, when I question, what is my purpose? What am I doing? Really what I want is just to live my life and live my life by my own standards. And those standards are not necessarily what society has set out for me. Yeah. You know, when I first started telling people that I was going to get my doctorate, that I was going to go to school to get this, they were like, what do you want to do? And I remember thinking, I don't want to tell anybody. I'm embarrassed. It's like almost shameful to say what I want to do. Because all I wanted to do was I want to get a doctorate. At this time, I was like, I want to get a doctorate because I want to pass on this information to other people and teach people about leadership and strategies and organizational change and things like that. And I was like, but all I want to do is teach from home. I want to be like an adjunct teacher.
But what I'm saying is this, right? Like,
that's not a status though.
Well,
it's an adjunct teacher, which I don't agree with that. I have had adjunct instructors that have been phenomenal.
But let's go back to like I like going back to like the common denominator of stuff, right? Okay. Purpose, right? Like what is that? Like for instance, like what is the purpose of a cat? Oh, we have cats, right? Like, what's their purpose?
Well, if we were being realistic, we are their purpose.
Yeah, but again, it's like we are their slaves. I mean, that's completely true.
What did I just do?
That is completely true. Yeah. But again, it's like if I think about like I like animal shows, right? And I'm into honey badgers right now, right? Those just little devils. They're persistent, man. Those things are just so cute. They're focused on like what they want. You know, it's like so they're determined. They're determined. They're just they see something. I mean, they just go for it, right?
Yeah.
So their purpose then is to survive, and procreate,
right?
And that's it, right?
Right.
So we are the only animal species, right, that has the potential to think and to look at things a little bit different. Why do you think that our perception of who we are as people or the potential that we have is so narrow that we just focus on our society function, on our status, either both financially, but primarily financially, right? Or because I have a title, you know, I'm a CEO or I'm this or I'm that. Like if you look at our society, our idea of purpose gets narrowed down, or we look at the world that we've created. Why is it that we don't have any more options as to what is my purpose in life?
That's a good question. It's hard to answer that question because I think that society has, this message is so ingrained in our heads, and when we're born into this world, even though we don't know anything about this society and expectations and, you know, white and black and racial disparities and sexual, that's something that we grow up with. Our parents start to teach us that, well, you have to go to school, you have to go to college, you have to get good grades, you have to get married, you have to. Why do you think that I got married? I got married at a young age to somebody I did not want to be married to. We had a lot of issues. We had indiscretions. It was for all intents and purposes, but I did what my parents told me I was supposed to be doing.
And again, there's value to that. I'm not disputing that there's value to culture. There is important value for culture, for society. It creates a structure because you can't have, you know, completely free individuals because we're very dangerous when it comes to freedom. You know, it's like we could think of many crazy things to do. So you can't have that extreme, nor you can have the other extreme that is completely overly structured.
Right.
You can't have that. Right. So when I'm always hesitant to criticize culture and society, but I do because it becomes imbalance. There's a portion in which we have to maintain society, right? But it's at the consequence of the individual. So you have that balance between the two. But the idea of purpose like intrigues me because again, you see the numbers. There's a lot of people using drugs and suicide rates have skyrocketed. And then if you look at our society, we have so much advances in technology, so many more options, so many things that people could get involved in. But that pressure of purpose, and you look at all the self-help books, it's like, how do I find my life's purpose? Right? But again, you go back to, what is the purpose of life? If we look at the studies, it's really about procreation and continuing the species. I mean, like that's the basic core.
That's the basic, yeah.
Right?
But people don't, that's not what people, even when you think about it, people nowadays, younger generation people, millennials and whatever, are like, I don't think I want to have any kids.
Correct.
So what's their purpose?
That's right? Exactly. Then what does become of their purpose? What does it become of their lives?
Procreating.
If they're not procreating, right?
So that's what I'm saying. That's the expectation that society, because a lot of people might say, you don't want to have any kids. What do you mean? Well, that's, you can't, you have to have children, but why does it have to be that you have to have children to have a purpose?
So then you start looking at, so then biologically, we kind of like getting away from that, right? Like the United States and most of the modern countries, the birth rate has actually decreased, so we don't have that pressure of expanding over the 7 billion people in the last 50 years, so the US, our birth rate is going down, which is actually a good thing because we are maintaining a certain level of population in the world, number one. So that's one part that we kind of like getting away from. The other part about purpose, and I think this is what most people struggle with, is because of that outside idea of status, right?
The noise.
They like the keeping up with the Joneses, because if the Joneses have this status, I need to be there, That's like, I see a lot of that, and I see that a lot of people are making their decisions based on that artificial idea of status, because status is not it's important to understand it, because it gives you models to strive for, but also at the same token could be very detrimental.
Yeah.
Because now we're modeling what potential in our lives based on a model of someone else.
And then if you can't achieve that,
then you're not good enough.
then you're not good enough. You're unworthy. That's where suicide comes in, depression, mental health issues, all these eating disorders. That's exactly what I'm trying to get at, is that there's this expectation, and who said that expectation is right?
Correct.
To have a purpose.
Yeah.
But that's what has been put out there. That's something that we're born into, like I was saying. And so we feel like we have to do that. That's why when I finally got to a place where I'm like, I'm not going to live, if all I want to do is adjunct teaching, that's all I want to do. I'm okay with that, and still have a doctorate. So what? You know what I mean? I'm still living my purpose.
Yeah.
Because I'm giving back knowledge that I've been fortunate to attain all these years, right?
So when you say that, it kind of like reminds me of a scene in The Matrix. Oh, I'm sorry, I like movies.
You love your a movie buff.
I like movies, and I like understand like some of my quotes and all that kind of stuff. And there is this part towards the end, right, in which Smith is about to turn Neo into another Smith, right?
Oh yeah.
And then he asks, why do you persist? It's like, and then he goes through it, and then Neo says, because I choose to.
Right.
Right?
Mic drop.
But that's the thing. It's like, in that movie itself, it's like if something doesn't have a purpose, then it gets deleted, exactly. Right? So, and we tend to do that in our society too.
To people.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. We tend to do that to people. Like, if this doesn't fit, oh, look at that, I just came up with a freaking idea. No, that's not an original idea. If this doesn't fit, we must delete. That kind of like just Johnny Cochran type thing, right? Like with the glove.
Oh yeah. No,
look it up.
Yeah, look it up. We'll look it up.
OJ, the glove don't fit. It doesn't fit.
If it does,
right?
If it doesn't fit, it's not legit or something.
Yeah. Like if it doesn't, If it doesn't fit, it must delete. So going back.
What happened there? Okay.
Going back to the Matrix, it was like if something doesn't have a purpose, it gets deleted.
Right.
And again, that idea of purpose in our society almost feels the same way, because there's a lot of people out there that feel if they don't have that status or that potential purpose, their life is meaningless.
Right.
That's a very that's a really tough spot to be in.
It is. Because then you're insignificant. You're just as an individual, you're a nothing. You're a nobody. And how many people on this planet feel that way?
Yeah.
Like that's been in my experience the last couple of weeks. I've been having a really difficult time. Difficult time because, I'm not 100% happy with my job.
Correct.
I've sort of outgrown that position and have way more to contribute. And I find myself feeling like I have no worthiness. I have no purpose. But that's not really true. It's just that's what I'm not living up to societal standards, and
Correct.
That's what's beating me down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I admit it. I'm having difficulties. I'm imperfect, and I want to make a difference, but what does that difference look like for me, and not what it looks like for society?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I just want that to matter to me.
Correct. And it's like from where I'm standing, right, and where I'm at in my life, it's almost as if, like, I feel like the honey badger, right? And again, it's not that I'm on purpose, but I have something that I want to do, which is, the Soul's Quest, the brand, the idea behind it, the concept, but selfishly, And I always, like, when I used to do trainings with employees, I used to say all the time, I am the most selfish person you have ever met. Mm-hmm. People say, no, you're not. It's like, yes, I am, because I do this because I like this shit, so I like it. So when I look at my life, right now, I feel that, and I'm hesitant to use the word, the idea of purpose. Like right now, this is what captivates me, right? It's like the honey badger going after the honey. Yeah. Right. And he doesn't care. He doesn't care about the stings. He doesn't care about that stuff. He just goes for it. Right. And I feel like that. And I can relate to that because the passion that I have right now. Now that might change. Right. Right. So then what would be my purpose then? So there is no such idea as purpose, right?
Because it does. It does change. It's fluid. It's not linear. That's not what that is. Mm-hmm. Purpose isn't that, because it changes for everybody.
Precisely.
And I think that's okay too. But some people don't feel that way.
No.
And that's the pressure that people face. Again, going back to the mental health issues and whatever. And that's an interesting perspective.
Yeah.
I would love to hear what our audience and viewers their take on what purpose is or what they feel.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because again, it's like, it's
that would be really interesting.
Yeah. Because again, it's like, what is the purpose? There's another, and we didn't bring religion into this conversation, but I have this thing called the three-headed monster, right? Which is religion, culture, and science. Right? And we'll talk about that further down the line, right?
In another episode.
But
right.
When I think about religion, right, the idea of we are here so that we could get to heaven, right? Mm-hmm. And have everlasting life. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I'm under the suspicion that most people don't really believe that anymore.
I think you're not 100% correct. I think there are a lot of people that believe that. They may not refer to it as heaven, but I think that people believe that they have to live their life accordingly because they have to meet their maker. Whoever that is, for whomever. Do you understand what I mean by that?
Yeah.
I don't want to make this a religion discussion.
No. I get it. But this is kind of like when I'm beginning to see that idea in and of itself, that you're living for the future or heaven, is beginning to lose its power.
I agree. It is diminished. Yeah. I think it's been a continuing cycle of being diminished.
I blame science for that, but I kind of like in a good way, because again, it's you
can't argue with science, right?
No, you could argue with science. You could argue with scientists, because scientists are human beings, right, and they have biases, and then they have points of views that affects the outcomes on how they report the outcomes. So you could argue with that. For instance, I could argue all day about statistics, and like the idea of, you're more than likely to be a failure in life because you come from a single family. Right. Come on, you could argue with that assessment of data. Data. I don't want to fucking talk about data right now. Let's
move off of that.
Just move off of that. But anyways, but when you see a society in which you have the broken down part of understanding the impact of religion, because we found out that a lot of the stuff that's happening from religion, it's not 100% accurate. It was necessary at a point because it's got us here, but the idea of purpose that they provide no longer holds sway on most people. And I think that's why you see so much sadness, depression, and all that kind of stuff. And I think people don't want to admit it, but I believe that's what it is. That's the first part. The second part is that makes us make this really messy, is that science hasn't provided an alternative of why we should strive for more. Right. Which the only answer after that really is up to the individual, like Neo said, because I choose to. Right. So that's something that we're going to have to kind of like address. I know this is a very dense conversation, right?
It is. I think that it warrants more conversation. And on that note, I think that this is a good place to end. Yeah. And I encourage dialogue. We would love to hear back from our audience, from Soul Questers. We really want to hear what you have to say about this topic and any topic that we ever talk about on our episodes. We invite you to be a part of our quest. Yeah. So if you haven't done so already, please visit our social media outlets. And don't forget, please look at our website, asoulsquest.com.
And subscribe to our channel as well.
That's right. Thanks so much.